Hello and welcome to Progress Not Perfection. Today I have two very special people, Mrs. April Cantrell, Mr. Brandon Cantrell. I'm going to stay right here because this is Knoxville, Tennessee media. But we're going to do interviews, but I think I'd like to talk to you first, if that's okay. I feel very underdressed to be beside this gentleman. So, we'll be right back. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely.
I want to make you completely aware this will be televised on KCM as well as YouTube because I now have that channel. Are you good with that?
I'm good with that.
You ready to share your story?
I am.
Well, let's just get to it then. Where are you from originally?
I've lived in Knoxville since I was probably 4 years old or so, but I was originally born in Germany on an Air Force Army base over there, but I only was there for a few months. So I've been in Knoxville most of my life. Every time I've left, I've always ended up back.
Were your parents both in service?
Mm-hmm.
Or, well,
yeah.
Thank them for their service.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Knoxville would say thank you too. Well, let's get down to what the show is about. So, what led you to addiction?
I had my youngest son and found out that I have scoliosis, and I also had problems when I delivered him with a spinal tap, and I had carpal tunnel surgery all at the same time with a newborn, and my doctor just wasn't helping me out with enough, medicine to help me, not feel pain. So that led to finding things on the streets, and that led from a pain pill addiction to Suboxone strips on the streets, and that was a very expensive habit and trying to get off of that, and then it progressed very quickly to other things, all off the streets.
How old were you when it first began?
I was 26 when I had my youngest son, and I had done weed and alcohol and things like that before, with like my first job and first in college and things like that, but I didn't know what a detox was until the pain pills. Yes. That's when I was like, oh my goodness, this is not what I was prepared for. And I worked at a mental health facility here in town doing outpatient stuff, so I saw a little bit of addiction in the people that I worked with, but I didn't understand it. I'd never been in it myself. Right. And so having that, laying in the bed, your muscles hurt, you're hot, you're cold, oh my gosh, how did this happen, was definitely an eye-opening, like, how did I get here?
Right.
But by that point, it's already snowballed.
Yeah. So what would you say your drug or drugs of choice were? I've always been a lover of marijuana. And so that was my first, if you want to laugh and be happy and eat and munch and giggle, that was what I loved. And then it went to, when I became homeless, it went to meth because I had such severe depression and guilt and shame and everything over the life that I had become, that I needed something to get me motivated to go find food, to go find clothes, to go find the next dope. So meth was my DOC for sure. So what were some of your experiences during active addiction?
I lost custody of both of my children at separate times. We lost all the homes that we had, all the vehicles that we had. Through some tough love from some family members, we ended up homeless, living North Knoxville area, between camps and hotel rooms and vehicles and things like that. Went to downtown towards the Mission, met some people down there that also did the drugs and things like that we did, so we got familiar with living downtown homeless, camping under bridges, on little trails that there would be. Didn't really do the abandoned buildings so much, but definitely under bridges and just areas around the railroad tracks and things like that. So you can actually get really creative and crafty with some homeless camps if you find some good cardboard or tarps and stuff like that.
I've been to I call it a tweaker camp, and it's like a house without walls.
Yeah.
And it was very, very...
and you can make it whatever size you want, and you can find
UT campus, when it's time for the college students to go home for the summer and for the winter and things like that, they leave behind amazing furniture and clothes and food and things like that. So we had some really, nothing ever lasted very long, but we had some amazing spots here and there. But like I said, nothing ever lasts long. In Knoxville, the claw trucks would come every Wednesday. And if they happened to be where you were at, then everything you owned, had, was picked up by the claw truck and taken down to wherever they take things, the magical fortress somewhere that you can never get to. So we lost a lot of good stuff, clothes, food, furniture, comfort things that we didn't have access to otherwise because we had no home. And like there was places where we'd be, and I remember laying there and there was like rats jumping across. I was like, oh my gosh,
wow.
I can't sleep here. Yeah. There's this one little shed area where there was like a hornet thing of bees or wasps or something, and I was like, I can't. Like I lay there the whole time. I was
it really there? Or was it
no, they were legit.
Okay, I was just making sure. Legit. I have to ask. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, I hallucinated some things here and there too, but no, the stinging things was completely real because I had witnesses. But I couldn't go to sleep with that because I was like, I can't. I mean, it stung. I shouldn't be here. And walking in the rain, all of your clothes wet, your shoes wet, your socks wet, your underwear wet, your backpack wet. The only clothes you have to change into are wet. No umbrella, no dry place to go. Even if you had dry things to put on, you have nowhere to go to get out of the rain. Those moments I'll never forget. And it really makes me grateful that nowadays, excuse me, when I'm driving in the rain, or if I have to walk from my parking lot to my building where I work, I don't have to walk in the rain like I used to. That's always a gratitude moment. And I imagine I'll probably always keep that. I don't have to walk drenching wet all over town just to find somewhere to hang out for a minute and go somewhere else for a minute and try to find this food and try to find this drug and try to find this person and try to find this thing all soaking wet anymore. I don't have to live that anymore.
Were there any dangerous experiences during your addiction?
Yeah, and I wear contacts. And so I lost my glasses. I really don't even remember what happened to my glasses at that time, but I didn't have contacts. So for a long time, I was really, really impaired vision-wise on the streets. And how I survived as long as I did, I really don't know. But a guy came into a hotel room that I was sitting in, and I was the one there, and I heard banging on the door, and I was like, oh, these people are waking me up. Opened the door, dude had a gun. And I didn't even see the gun because I was half asleep. And I was like, why are you here? Nobody else is here. You need to go. And like probably 10, 15 minutes later, then I saw him and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should be a little bit more nervous than me talking smack to this guy because I can't see what's happening.
I am curious, how long were you in active addiction?
From the time that I started with the pain pill situation until strips, until meth on the streets, it was probably close to 5, maybe almost 6 years. Yeah.
Have you ever been to treatment?
I did not. I went to jail 4 times because like I said, I went and steal from a person.
I did too. I went to jail 4 times.
Yes, 4 times.
We have things in common.
It was horrible. And so I went to jail 4 times. The last 2 times I got out, I got released on probation. Mm-hmm. My probation officer was amazing, but that first time of meeting her, she wanted to help me, and I wasn't ready for that. So she wanted me to go do a drug and alcohol assessment, and I did, and failed it completely. BS my way all the way through it, tried to fake a drug screen. Obviously that didn't work. Yeah. So she's like, listen, I want you to come and see me in a couple of days, and we're going to talk about treatment options. Well, I panicked. It's like, I can't go back. I'm not ready for this. I can't. Because the only constant in my life right then was drugs and the people around me. I had lost everything else that mattered. So I was too scared to death to try something different. So went back to jail for something. I think I had another warrant for failure to appear, probably because I didn't go. And so I got released back on probation with her. She was like, okay, let's try this again. So we need to help you. And I was like, okay, I was completely broken and honest with her. I was like, I lied to you before. I have nowhere to live. I have no prospects of a job. I don't know what I'm doing. Everything I've tried has failed. I've ruined everything good in my life. I don't know what to do.
Right.
So there was a resource guy that works in the court systems, and he asked me a zillion and one questions, and he was like, okay, I want you to try treatment. It was like 18-month long program, living out in some farmhouse close to Nashville or something. And I was like, I can't. Mm-hmm. My main goal the whole time I was strung out and using and homeless was I want my kids. I want my kids. So I was like, I can't. Every time I left Knoxville, I always came back because that's where my kids were. I was like, I can't leave yet. I'm not ready for that. He said, okay, I'm going to give you a chance. I want you to enroll in this women's IOP just for moms. It's a year-long program, 3 to 4 days a week, intense everything. And I was like, okay, let me try that. He said, if you can't do this though, you're going to Nashville. So okay, valid. I get it. Let me try. So I enrolled in intensive outpatient that day. So I never went to the traditional treatment facility. I was too scared. But the IOP that I was at was amazing. Feeling welcomed, feeling like I wasn't the weirdo, failure that I internalized that I was, because I knew that I was better than this and I was letting myself make all the bad choices. So relearning how to forgive myself, how to look at myself, how to parent my kids, how to rebuild my life, how to be a wife, be a daughter-in-law, try to be an employee again, how to be a good friend, how to retrain your brain from all of that addict thinking. Oh, there's a garage. It's open. I wonder what's in there. Oh, that car looks like it's open. What's in there? Like all of those little bitty minute things that the average person doesn't think about. But I did because I'd been in that lifestyle. Oh, this store's got this on sale and nobody's watching me. Like it was really hard for me to start going shopping in Dollar General, in Walmart, which I'm not supposed to go in Walmart, but it was really hard for me to retrain my brain. This is the way you're supposed to do it.
I mean, drugs, they completely, it rewires everything.
Yeah.
I'm a little over 2 years clean, and I've done drugs my whole life.
Yeah.
My entire life. And it's like I'm a little over 2 years old.
Yeah.
That's the way that I feel.
Yeah. I mean, and I knew what life was like before active addiction, because before active addiction, I was a single mom. I put myself through college. I worked full time. I took care of him with the help of my parents, but I took care of my son. And I was successful. I had a degree. I had all of these things. So I knew it was possible for me. I just had to figure out how the heck to get back to that. Right. Because I was so lost and so confused and so disappointed in myself. And I knew my family was disappointed in me. I knew that nobody else, in my mind, nobody else was going to forgive me. Nobody else was going to give me a second chance because I didn't deserve it.
Right.
But IOP taught me I did deserve that. Everybody makes mistakes. I made some doozies, but you can come back from that. And I really needed that loving environment of other people saying, girl, I've been there too, and that's what NA gave to me. Some of my 12-step meetings and the people I met in that, it's okay. I needed that. It's not acceptable behavior, but you're accepted because that's the past. I needed that loving and nurturing environment again.
So you completed IOP?
I did. It was a 12-month program, and I did it in 11 months because I'm an overachiever. And I was I'm done with this homework. Give me another one.
So you were in active addiction when you were arrested.
Yes.
How bad is your mugshot?
They are horrible. I have, like I said, I was arrested 4 times. I guess I don't have the first mugshot, maybe. I don't remember. But I know I have one from 2018, another one from 2019, and one from January of 2020. That was right before, that was my surrender. So I have 3 different years. They're all progressively bad.
Right. Well, would you be willing to show Knoxville these mugshots?
I could do that. I'm okay with that because that is my past.
All 3?
Yes.
Well, I'm very curious to see them, so we'll be right back. And that was you.
That was me. Yes. That was 3 pictures of a very lost, broken, confused, deceitful, hurt April.
Well, I love the April that you are now. You were so bubbly and just, I love talking to you.
Absolutely.
So
shut up.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious, what was your breaking point that led you to recovery?
The last time I got out of jail, I got released off the paddy wagon downtown, and I was like, okay, I wanted my family and my kids back so much.
Yeah.
And I literally was walking down Gay Street on the sidewalk, and I was kind of probably having a little bit of a conversation with myself, hopefully mostly in my head. And I was like, okay, if I keep walking down Gay Street straight, it's a straight shot back to everybody that I knew, everything that I knew, all the people, I knew I could get clothes, I could get drugs, I get a place to stay, I can get affection, the fake kind that you get from people that aren't really there for you. I could get all of that if I just kept walking straight. But if I turned and went to the bus station, I knew I could get a ride to go and see my son. And I was like, okay, this is your defining moment. What are you going to do? And I missed my kids so bad. And I knew in that moment, if I did not go see him, that if I kept going straight, I had no reason. I could miss him all I wanted, but I had no reason to say I want him back.
Right.
Because if I went straight, then obviously I didn't want him back. And so I really had to internally have that moment of, what do you want? And I went to the bus station and I got a ride, and I ended up on my in-laws' porch. And I was like, please don't turn me away. I know you have every reason to, but please don't, because I don't know what to do. And they helped me get some numbers for some halfway stuff. They let me stay one night. I went to probation the next morning, and I told her, I don't know what to do. Please help me. I'll do anything at this point. Yeah. And that's where it all changed.
So what is your clean date? Exactly how long have you been clean?
February of 2020. So I've just got my 3 years clean.
3 years clean? I am so proud of you.
Thank
Knoxville,
you.
clap. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Amazing.
It's been an awesome, awesome change of events.
What have you gained back in recovery?
So many more things than I could have imagined. I've got custody back of my youngest son, 100%. He's
That's
mine.
awesome.
I've got unsupervised visitation of my oldest son. He's able to visit anytime he wants to, school allowing, obviously.
Right.
He goes to college in a couple years, so I wasn't trying to uproot him. But anytime we want to see each other, it's happening.
Yeah.
I have a career at a treatment facility that I absolutely love, and I love the people that I work with and helping the next addict and all of that. I have a home again that is sanctuary for us, that is where we come in the evening to just get away from everything.
That's where we are right now, and I'm grateful to have a home too. You were homeless, I was also homeless, and it's good to be able to say, come to my house. Yeah.
Nobody can take this from me. The claw sharks can't take it from me.
Yes.
I can't be kicked out. Nobody's gonna come and steal my stuff. This is home. I've gotten a relationship back with my husband because we really beat each other up, metaphorically speaking, in active addiction. Rebuilding those relationships was very time consuming, but it was very needed. Rebuilding relationships with my family, his family, the people around us that cared about us, that distanced themselves in the active addiction, all of that. So I'm really big into our church. I do Sunday school and some Wednesday nights with our teen group at church, teaching them this is the vulnerable years. You need to be prepared and be steady in, that I wasn't growing up. How to be able to handle life's hard decisions before they hit you as a teenager. So I love that, and getting to know those teens as they're about to face the hard stuff that I've already been through. I love those deep conversations sometimes with these teens. Our life is good. Life is full. There's never a dull moment, and if there is, I'm asleep because it's busy. From the time I wake up, getting little one to school and going to work and doing all the miracles that I can in one day,
and then coming home and spending time with family and just relaxing in my sanctuary. It's never a dull moment. So I love it.
Recovery is beautiful.
Yeah. So worth it.
It is. So worth it. Your personal opinion, what do you think we could do as a community to better help the addict that wants and actually seeks the help but doesn't have the means to do so, such as insurance, grant, money, family? What do you think we could do as a community?
I have no idea how to make my answer come to fruition because that's above my pay grade. But when I was actively wanting treatment and I didn't have insurance, I didn't have a phone to where I could call a treatment facility every morning at a certain time, I didn't have a means to get to any of that.
Right.
Treatment should be cost-free for the addict. I get that people got to pay for the doctors, and you got to pay for the facility, and you got to pay for the meds, and you got to pay. I get that, and I don't know how to make all of that work out for the bottom line for, you know, the big bill payers and stuff. But if an addict today decides I want help, there should be a way to get that person into a medically safe detox facility that day. And having to make them wait and wait, or no, you don't qualify because you don't use enough quantity wise, or you're not bad enough, all you do is this, and this, and we need you to do this, and this instead. That's just a recipe for disaster. There were numerous times where I would call a treatment facility and, oh, you need to call back tomorrow morning. I didn't have a phone. I didn't have service. The place that I was going to use Wi-Fi wasn't even open the next morning at that time. Oh. So I wanted it, but then I didn't have the means to follow through with it. So if there's somebody that wants help today, get them to treatment today. And like I said, I don't know how to make all of that happen, but the person that wants a better life should not have to jump through 50 million hurdles and leave 50 million voice messages and call this place and call that place and see about a ride and do you have this instead and I need you to be medically cleared and I need this, and this, and all these things that a person in a homeless situation with no ID, no license, no insurance, no belongings, no hygiene stuff, if meds that they're supposed to be on they don't even have, there's no way to make all that happen. You're making impossible hurdles for somebody that wants help. Yeah. So that would be in an ideal utopia, somebody that wants help, that wants to take that first step. There should be nothing standing in their way, in my opinion.
If the sick and suffering addict were sitting right in front of you, what would you say to them? What would your message be?
So many things come to mind because I'm a talker. Don't give up. Keep trying. You're worth it. And don't let anybody tell you different. Because everybody deserves a chance at a better life. No matter what you've done. There's always a better life around the corner.
Absolutely beautiful. And I say that a lot in my shows, but everything is beautiful in
recovery.
Yes, everything is just fabulous. Well, thank you so much for talking with me.
Absolutely.
So I guess I am moving on to your Georgia football loving husband next. So we will be right back, folks. So, are you ready?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
7 years later.
Well, I guess we're ready to start, folks. Again, my name is Della. I'm here with Brandon, who is representing Trash.
National champs. 2 times.
Anyways.
Back to back.
I would like to make you fully aware that this will be televised on KCM and my YouTube channel.
That sounds great.
Does it?
Yeah.
Well, you ready to share your story?
Let's do this.
I feel like I don't have to ask, but I must. Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. And we moved up here whenever I was in the 3rd grade to Knoxville. Me, mom, dad, sister. They relocated up here.
So you've been up here ever since?
No, well, not ever since. I moved back to Georgia for a short while after I turned 18.
But you came back home to good old Rocky Top.
Yeah, if you want to call it that.
That was almost a go Vols, people.
Never was it.
That was so close. I've been trying to get him to say it ever since I've seen this.
The pollen is very bad in Georgia.
Well, let's get into your story. I'm very excited to hear it. So, how old were you when you first experimented with your first drug?
I was in the 5th grade. I remember hanging out with a bunch of people, and of course, you know, like everybody else, it's marijuana that you first do.
Right.
Smoking a joint before class or whatever. And me and a bunch of my friends, we used to smoke weed down the street in the tunnels.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Kind of like it?
Yeah. Like
in the sewers, I got you.
Right. And then shortly after that, I went to, you know, like hydro 10s and progressed from there to morphine and on up all the way to meth, heroin, and did it in any way, shape, and form you can think of.
Smoking, snorting intravenously. I did the same thing. I've been on just about everything, so it's not unheard of. But what led to that decision to smoke marijuana in the 5th grade?
Just seemed like a cool thing to do. I mean, I was always a rebel. You know, mom and dad tell you not to do something, I went and done it.
Right.
Mom and dad tried to tell you good things to do, I didn't do it. I mean, that's the way I was.
What was your drug or drugs of choice?
Well, at one time, anything that got me high.
Right.
Whether it was weed, pills, meth, heroin, I didn't care. If it got me high, I liked it.
Yeah. So, how long were you in active addiction? Did it continue from 5th grade up?
I'd say like it really got, my active addiction really started in the 8th grade. That's when I snorted my first pill. That's whenever the first morphine sucker I ever put between my cheek and gum was in the 8th grade. And I'd say it progressed from that point on. And there's a short period of time that I got clean, and I did it, you know, with not knowing what the recovery field was.
Right.
And stayed clean for a little while. But I always would, when I was a truck driver at the time, I'd always come back in town and party.
Right.
But then I'd only party for 3 or 4 days and then go back out, and I wouldn't get sick or nothing like that. I was just, when I came in town, I was partying.
Yeah.
Whenever I was out on the road, here and there,
Right.
you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, but it really got bad in my late 20s, early 30s.
So, when did you realize that addiction had taken a hold of you?
I remember one night, laying in bed telling my wife, I was like, look, I've got a pain pill problem again. And like, that time I knew, like, and so, see, I got clean, and then like, I knew that it was coming again.
Right.
And then I'm just stupid like the rest of us are addicts.
Yeah.
Just kept on. One more, you know, or, you know, not knowing anything about recovery, try to do it yourself, and it didn't work then.
How old were you?
26, 27 maybe, is whenever that, you know.
Realization hit you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time before, like in high school and all that other stuff, I really didn't even, I was like I guess it's a runaway bull, you know,
Right.
if it felt good, do it.
Yeah.
It didn't matter who it hurt,
Yeah.
didn't care who it hurt, I had no emotion about it.
What did you lose during your addiction?
Well, couple houses, a lot of cars. The main thing that I lost was my kids, my wife, my mom, my dad,
Yeah.
There was a point in time my sister wouldn't even if I did call, she probably wouldn't answer.
Right.
And I mean, I lost everything, like literally all the way down to no underwear, no socks. I mean, literally, like had nothing but an empty backpack.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whenever they say that you will lose everything to your addiction.
Yeah. It's very true.
Yeah.
So, what were some of your experiences during active addiction?
Well, I've got a lot of, bad experiences. Remember me telling you one time I moved back down to Georgia.
Right.
Well, back down, that was back whenever I was 19, 20, 21, around that, area. And down in Georgia is a totally different lifestyle, especially in the drug scene.
Right.
I was living with my brother, which was, he was partaking the same type of lifestyle. And, but it was a very fast-paced lifestyle, and I'd say that was the first time that I was introduced to meth.
Right.
And we did a lot of things, to be able to afford that type of lifestyle.
Yeah.
And living in trap house to trap house to trap house.
Yeah.
So, the one story the one experience I can tell you that sticks out to my mind and that I still deal with to today is whenever me and a group of people, we robbed this old lady of everything. Made her empty her entire banking account. Told her that if she didn't empty her bank account, she would never see her grandson again.
Was that true? Did you have a grandson?
Yes.
Against his will, or?
Pretty much.
Oh, okay.
So, just like I said, she is on to glory, and he'll never, and it was a lot of money. Like, I'm talking like $80,000.
Wow.
Like, have the money at this certain spot, or you're not going to ever see him again.
Yeah.
And just like I said, I was a part of that, so like it's my fault, and I deal with that every day.
Yeah.
I'll never be able to pay that woman back, nor pay the man back neither.
Yeah.
But just like I said, back then I had no emotion.
Right.
I had none, didn't care.
Yeah.
And that's just what it was.
Yeah.
And to live that type of lifestyle, that's what we did. Had guns pulled on us.
Yeah.
Pulled guns on people to rob them. And, that's just not, that's the drama that comes with that lifestyle. The hectic of,
Yeah.
and the monster that it makes.
Yeah.
I've got to say, meth turns men into monsters, and I ain't gonna say what it turns women into, but
I think we all know.
But I was the devil, plain and simple. Didn't care, had no emotion, didn't even want to live. I was homeless for a long time, and being in downtown Knoxville, under the bridges, had gotten fights. People jumped me. I jumped people. I robbed a bunch of people. People tried to burn. Somebody did burn my camp down with us in it.
Really?
Like seconds of it was a cardboard. Like we had a bunch of cardboard up, and they just lit the cardboard, and it was flamed up.
Wow.
I could feel the flames on my head.
Wow.
Lost everything. Run out barefooted.
Mm.
And that's another time that I lost everything to my addiction.
Yeah.
Because I had gotten high and fell asleep. So, and then woke up to flames under a bridge, like fire department come, everything. Please.
Wow.
Yeah. And of course, we run.
Have you ever tried to go to treatment?
Yes. There's one time I, got in touch with my parents, and begged and pleaded and,
Yeah.
you know, please, you know, I need help. I need, you know, can we, you know, do some type of treatment? And Mom took me all the way up to Louisville, Kentucky. And I was only there like 5 or 6 days. I don't even think I was there that long.
Yeah. Did you leave or get kicked out?
I voluntarily left. So, which was the wrong decision. Because when I got back to Knoxville off the Greyhound bus, I was right back to what I was doing.
So were you just not ready to get home?
There was some stuff here in Knoxville that made me make that decision. And I was, you know, one morning, wake up, I'm going to see you. Give me my phone back. You know, give me my bags. I'm gone. Yeah. And people tried to talk me out of it, and I was like, no, I'm gone. And in a different city, the city I was in has the first 48 in it. And like, I saw the first 48 people going down the street.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, this is where I need to be. And like, you know, luckily, you know, this person saw me at the bus station and, you know, he wasn't the right person, but he was the right person.
Right.
Gave me some drugs and bought me a bus ticket. And right back to the madness.
Right back to good old Rocky Town.
Evidently.
That's the second time, folks. That is the second time. I feel like a Go Vols is coming close.
Never.
So, have you ever been arrested due to your drug use?
Yes, and that was probably the best and worst thing at the same time, because for almost a solid year it was in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And the last time that I got arrested is whenever, like, I interviewed for the Knox County Recovery Court.
Yeah.
And then I had told him no and went to court. Then the judge didn't let me out, so I went back to jail. Then I went back to court, told him no again. And then whenever my lawyer and them came to the jail and was like, look, this is going to help you, blah, blah, blah. The judge is only going to let you out if you take this program.
Right.
And I was like, well, I mean, if he'll let me out tomorrow, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And the next day I had a court date, and of course he didn't let me out.
No.
He let me out the next day. So
it never goes as planned, ever.
And the next day he released me to Knox County Recovery Court. And then it was a whirlwind of, oh, well, you got to report here, you know. And then I went there, and, you know, oh, and then you got to go to court here in a couple hours. I'm like, I just went to court this morning, and, you know, they was like, no, you got to go back tonight. And I was like, I'll just run, you know, thinking about running. And I was like, I'd already made prior arrangements with my dad to come pick me up after the court.
Right.
And then that way I could go be with my kid, you know. And so, yeah, I mean, that was probably the best decision I ever made.
Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and spill the beans. Brandon and April are very good friends of mine. And it wasn't a stage, but we did stand beside each other and graduate together from Knox County Recovery Court. So if Judge Cerny, you're watching, hi. We're still doing fabulous. But very proud of you and how far you came. So was that your breaking point when you came back to Knoxville and were in jail? Is that what led you to recovery?
Whenever I came back to Knoxville, I didn't go straight to jail. That was just like, you know, months and months went by, you know, and then I started getting arrested for breaking in cars. But my breaking point was I had got out of jail. I was in work release, and I wasn't even supposed to be, like, I didn't even know I was supposed to be getting out. And then, like, 4:30 rolled around, and, you know, I was in work release. So they was like, Cantrell, pack your stuff up. And I'm like, for what? You're getting out? And I was like, are you sure? But they let me out because I was in work release getting 2 days. And then they let me out early is what it was.
Yeah.
And I went right back to it. I mean, as soon as I landed down out of the paddy wagon,
Yeah.
I mean, it was like I went up the gay street, went left, and right there at the big bank right there was somebody sitting there that I knew.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You want to get high?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, you got to ask me twice. And then, you know, I was out for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
And I was on my way back to camp. I'd already, you know, started another camp. On my way back to the camp. And it was, I mean, the sun was up. You know, I'd been up all night out, you know, scavenging and robbing and breaking in stuff. And the cop pulled up and was like, "Hey." And I was like, "Crap." A few choice other words. And he was like, "What?" And I said, "I got a warrant." He was like, "What?" And I was like, "I've got a warrant." "Okay, well, turn around and put your hands behind your back." And I was like, "Well, check first." He was like, "No, turn around, then I'll check." Okay, and then of course, you know, had a warrant.
Yeah.
That was my breaking point.
That was your breaking point?
That was, I mean, I was like, you know what?
So, mugshots, do you have one?
Yes, I do.
Would you be willing to show Knoxville?
They're horrible, but yes.
You're a very big man, so
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that does not look like you.
Yeah. That's 100 and the last time I got locked up, I weighed like 157 pounds.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the second time I went to jail, I weighed exactly 70 pounds.
Yeah.
And it was a bad moment. I had been up for 12 days, hadn't eaten in 6, and
Been there.
went into intake, and you know the bag lunches that they give you.
They're great.
Yeah, so I was crawling around intake in the drunk tank or whatever you want to call it, and I ate everybody's lunch and then passed out in those nasty shoes that they gave me.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, that's just the way that it goes.
Get the roll of toilet paper for a pillow.
Yes. Yeah, if you can find something. Yes.
Right.
So, what is your clean date exactly?
January the 22nd of 2020 is the last time that I stuck a needle in my arm, snorted anything, smoked anything. So.
Over 3 years.
Over 3 years.
I am proud of you.
I'm now proud of myself.
That's what counts.
Exactly.
You know, you can have 1,000 people be proud of you, but until you're proud of yourself, I don't want to say it's not worth it.
It's hard to explain.
It is hard to explain. But
when you're proud of yourself,
yeah,
you can accomplish anything.
Yeah.
You can set yourself up for whatever it is that you want.
Do you still ever get the urge to use?
I'm part of that group that does not have that urge. There's a few of us out there.
Yeah.
I don't have that urge no more.
Yeah.
Like I could be having the worst day ever and like it never crosses my mind anymore. You know, what crosses my mind more is what if I do use.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've lost everything to it. So why would I do it again?
Yeah.
So, I mean.
That's very true. I have health issues, about my brain aneurysm, and I used to have fleeting thoughts. I have more using dreams than anything.
The last time I had a using dream was right around my 2-year mark.
Really?
And, literally woke up sweating. Vividly, was like,
But you in labor or just hyperventilating?
The meth pant.
Oh, yeah.
The meth pant.
I vaguely remember what that's like. Yeah.
So, I don't know, this past, just like I said, it was January 22nd, was my 3 years.
Yeah.
which was on a Sunday, and I'm big in church, and my pastor, he made a big deal about it. You know what I'm saying? And there's a few people that still make big deals about certain dates. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's an accomplishment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me, I look back on it, and I look back on what I was and where I've come from and all that other stuff. That's what keeps me from you. Because if I use all that, it don't go away. You know what I'm saying? All that clean time don't go away.
Right.
Like I know what the tools and stuff to, be able to get back to it. But like I don't want to lose. I don't want to be one of them ones that's got 5-10 years and relapse. I know it's on the table.
Yeah.
Because it never goes away.
Addiction does not discriminate. It has no age limit.
And if I'm gonna mess up, I mean, if anybody's gonna mess up, it's gonna be me. So.
Right.
And I don't know. Like like you ask if I had that. I don't have that urge. I lost that probably luckily around 9 to 10 months. I literally never even thought about it ever since.
Yeah.
Not even smoking weed.
Yeah.
I've gained back everything and some.
Yeah.
Everything that I lost, I gained back. I've got a closet out here full of backpacks that I don't even use. I've got 2 vehicles with my name on it and my wife's name on them. Like not anybody else, but us. We did it. This house is ours.
Yeah.
We got our kid back. Just us.
In your personal opinion, what do you think we could do as a community to better help the addict that wants and seeks to help, but doesn't have the means to do so?
A county-based rehabilitation center. The county's got a penal farm, don't they? And it don't cost nothing to go there.
No, just time.
So,
just time.
My thing is if there was a county-based rehabilitation center, for drug addicts that don't have insurance, that are, they get arrested, or, I mean, if they won't help, the county ought to be able to help them.
Right.
And just like I said, or a state funded, you know what I mean? State funded.
Yeah.
I mean, the state funds a lot of stuff that's not, in my eyes, is useless.
Yeah.
Something like that right there, especially in our day and age.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, if the sick and suffering addict were sitting right here in front of you, what would you say to them? What would your message be?
You better stop before you die, would be my first statement to them. I would probably tell them that, it's a hard question.
Yeah.
Because, if somebody was sitting there that's high and wanting help, I'd tell them, look, it's worth it. That's the right decision, is to want help.
Yeah.
And I would probably pick my phone up and start making some phone calls, because I know people I've got a network, and I would not really pawn them off on them, but I'd make sure they got to the right person.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Make sure they're safe.
Yeah. And knowing me, I would take them and try to make sure that they made it there. I mean, I'm not going to give them no money, but I'm going to make sure they make it there. Get them a couple packs of cigarettes if they smoke, buy them something to eat if they're hungry, and just get them to I know a handful of people I could call right now that's in with the halfway houses, and then from that point to make sure that they got get into rehab or whatever the next step might be.
Right.
Because living clean is like I'm living my best life. So
into that.
I would definitely tell them that they're not making the wrong decision, and I'd tell them to stop before they died. Because there's only 2 places you're going to go, and that's either jail or dead.
That's very true.
So, I mean, and if you get locked up, you're going to wish you was dead, and then if you're dead, you're going to wish you was alive. So,
It's very true, yes.
So, you know, that's just what I would tell them. I mean, just stop before you die.
And that is a very true statement coming from Brandon Cantrell. Thank you so much for being on the show. Let's go find your wife and get her off the phone, and let's close this up. Let's close out. We'll be right back, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to Sorry about that, folks. We found her. Gotta, put the phone away.
Perfect.
I want to thank you again so much, Knoxville, for tuning in. And I have a couple questions for you guys. Were you in active addiction before you got married?
No. We did not meet active addiction until we were engaged. Kind of the beginning of when we got married. Somewhere in that time frame.
So you were already an addict?
I mean, yes. Secretly.
No, you were already,
I mean,
had already kicked the habit.
And I was falling
when we
back
got
into
together.
addiction.
Yes.
Yes.
How long have you guys been married?
8 years. We've been together for 10.
That's amazing. You guys have went through it all, and
Busted up, came back, busted up.
yeah,
Right.
and
Couples therapy works, guys.
Yes.
these
I
guys
have to
are
admit.
awesome. Couples therapy works.
Yes.
It does.
So, how has your marriage grown? Has it gotten better since you've been in recovery?
Well, we don't argue
Yes.
at all.
We've learned what each other's buttons are, and we try not to push them intentionally, but we're both human. So when that happens, we both know, oh, that's what I say when it really hurts her feelings, or this is what I do when it really rubs him wrong. So we both kind of know to take a step back. Let's talk about this made me feel this way, that made me feel this way towards you. We can talk about it. And I have complete trust in him. I don't have to worry about, you're home late, what are you doing? Well, there's $20 off the bank, what are you doing? I have no fear. I have no doubt in my mind that he is on the same pathway and that we're doing all we can for our family and for our future.
And I'm double whammy. She works at a treatment facility.
So you're hit, even if you it's not even worth trying.
It's like, is she really at work? Yep, she's really at work.
Yeah.
You know, she really on her way home? Yep, she's really on her way home.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say I am proud of both you guys, and total cliche, but thank you for being a friend. Me and
Absolutely.
the Golden Girls. But anyways, my name is Della. This is April.
Wait!
What?
George is always on top.
Oh God! Oh no! This is Della, and this is Brandon and April. Thank you for joining in Progress Not Perfection. I have to go and wash my head now. See you later.